I, 27 female. I'm always angry at my boyfriend, 25 male, after living together. Should I move out? We've been together for 5 years, moved in together about a year ago. We do housework together. My standards of cleanliness is way higher than my boyfriend's. And that's been a pain in the ass. For example, when we clean after cooking, I wipe around the hobs and the kitchen wall and floor as well just because I know it's really hard to get food splashes off if they go solid. My boyfriend does clean, but he doesn't know how to do it properly, so to speak. After he cleans the kitchen, I still see the food splashes on the wall, floor and around the kitchen cupboard. And let me tell you, it applies to every part of the house. When he doesn't separate waste collection properly, when he leaves his shampoo bottle in the bathtub, when he does the dishes but the plates are still oily as fuck, when he doesn't hoover properly after trimming his beard, when he makes messes, his clothes lying around in our bedroom, when he doesn't know how to fold towels properly. I can't seem to stop thinking like I'm living with a teenage boy. He asks me I should let him know how to tackle household chores properly, but I really don't want to feel like I'm being his mother, and it's not like I haven't taught him at all, it's just he doesn't change no matter how many times I ask him to do. Lately, I find myself always angry at him and I don't even want to talk to him at all sometimes. Should I move out? Plus apart from it, he's been a really great partner, but apparently not a good flatmate. Plus it seems like many people don't understand how I can expect him to fold towels properly, and can get mad over it, but I do not quite understand if it's seriously wrong to want him to fold them instead of making them into balls and crumple them in some random place. Also, let me clarify this again, I've taught him how to do things. I've taught him how to use a washing machine, how to separate waste collections, why we need to separate dark clothes and whites before putting them in the washer, and I also share some links or text him the steps in case he forgets, but I really don't know how many more things are left to be taught or how far I should go. I may sound exhausting, but I really am exhausted too, and that's why I made this post in the first place. Sometimes I want him to watch YouTube tutorials when he doesn't know something, but at the same time he doesn't even know what we should do. Then again, I have to let him know that we should do these things now after this. I really get tired of it at times like after work or when I want to focus on my own problems, not just housework. You could spend a day teaching him how you like it done in order to combat the issue. Some people just don't know that the way they're doing something is wrong unless someone lets them know. Me and my husband have very different standards of what's clean and what isn't. He makes a huge mess cooking and leaves it, etc. However, I love him enough that I accept he has these different standards. He does other things that make up for it, like he makes this mess cooking because he's cooking for us both. He trims his beard and leaves hair everywhere because he's trying to look nice for me. Basically, he's trying. If you can see past it and realize it probably won't change but his other positives outweigh this one negative, then I think you'll be fine. If not, then I think you need to sit down and talk about your future together. If you broke up with him, and you started dating again, would home cleanliness be a deal-breaker issue for you that you screen for in potential mates? You sound kind of like a controlling nightmare to live with. End his torture and move out. You end up creating an abusive environment, however unintentionally, when you're always pissed off like that. He has a right to be happy and secure in what is as much his home as yours. There is no law that says you have to live with someone you love. Why ruin things based on some arbitrary belief from forever ago? If you're happier in your own space, is healthier for him that you go back to your own space. If you have higher standards, you need to be the one reaching them, not him. He's a total dirtbag, it's your issue, not his. If you resent the extra time, just swap jobs so he does more laundry or lawn mowing or anything you don't have an exact requirement for. But if you have exacting standards in everything, maybe he's the one who should bail. Get a cleaner. Otherwise this is doomed. He is who he is. There is nothing wrong with having different standards. He could make a similar post about you being too fussy and that he can't relax. Seriously, get a cleaner and grow up. I have some questions. 1. Has he come from an environment where his mum did everything for him? 2. Is this his first time living out of home? 3. If not, who did he live with previously? From what you say, it sounds like your relationship is good in other ways and he seems willing to compromise. You need to learn to let some things go. Shampoo bottle in the bathtub. And he needs to learn to be more thorough. Oily plates after washing sounds gross. There is a middle ground and you guys need to find it. Am I being unreasonable banning my roommate's girlfriend? So my husband and I own our home and one of his friends helped us when we moved. He was living in military housing and asked us about renting a room out. He's a chill dude, respectful, and despite me loving my privacy and solitude, we agreed. Everything has been going well. He even had a friend come visit and stay, and he's free to have people come hang out. I just like a heads up to kinda brace myself to be in the same space, you know? But then he started dating this girl. She seemed really nice and we even played card games and drank together. About a month in of him dating her, she started making demands. Saying she needs her copy of the keys now, which I was 100% not okay with. There was no reason for her to have unlimited access to my house. Then she started making comments about when she was moving in. I talked to our roomie and he said this was a casual relationship that he has no intention of continuing when she graduated college. But I guess she intended on moving in once she was done with school. Then she started making plans about how we needed to change the spare room to her liking because it was going to be her nursery. She wasn't even pregnant. I never lost my temper, I just told my roommate that she was no longer allowed over. He could have whatever guests he wanted, but if she was on my property again I'd have her trespassed and I'd give him an eviction notice. He seemed okay with it, but we're way distant now and he barely comes out of his room. Before we used to watch TV together or play games, even when my husband wasn't home. I feel like I suck at being friends with people in general and I think I ruined this one. Was I unreasonable? Like maybe I'm too harsh from living with women before, but she gave me serious crazy vibes. If she moved in I felt like she would have taken over my home. She had already rearranged my kitchen from a weekend visit, which is my biggest pet peeve. Dude is probably not mad at you, just embarrassed that he made you deal with his crazy, hopefully ex-girlfriend. Nope, not unreasonable at all. It's your house, he is just a roommate in there and his girlfriend is crazy AF. She seems very pushy about everything, especially about moving in your house and future plans without even consulting you if you are okay with it and as if it were her BS place. You were completely reasonable. She sounds like an entitled twat. You're being reasonable. She is blind to boundaries. I can't think of a situation in which I would rearrange somebody else's kitchen, for instance. You are protecting your home, your family, and even your roommate from this girl. Not unreasonable. It's your property and you get to decide who can come and who cannot. You should point out the rent agreed only between you and him and not someone else. Without that agreement she can be escorted out the house with police if it comes to it. Your roommate can be as distant as he wants, he's a tenant not an owner. Let him cool on his own and you continue to be friendly. You were right about her not coming back. You could just talk to him and say, hey, I miss hanging out with you. Just tell him you might have clear feelings about her not coming around but you still consider him a friend and don't want him to feel uncomfortable. He might be misunderstanding the situation, so just put it out there. If this unbelievably entitled person moved into your home and made your life a living hell, which she would, you would have problems legally getting her out depending on how long she has been living there. Who knows, she may even feel entitled to your husband after a while. The only thing I may have done differently is, instead of threatening to evict my friend and roommate, I would have said I would consider his girlfriend legally a trespasser, and deal with her as I would any trespasser if she trespassed on my property again. Nah, that's cool. I just for some reason dislike my roommate's girlfriend to the point that I unfollowed her and everything and eventually told him to not have her over and she never came back and they eventually broke up and he said you know what, she was crazy, and I was like no shit, but the only good that came about it was I got more time alone in my apartment. My boyfriend of 6 years is gone. My boyfriend of 6 years moved out today while I was at work. I came home to an empty house with none of his things. I fell to the floor. I'm devastated. Background. We dated from 2015 now. We started when we were 18 and now we are 25. Our relationship was up and down due to distance during college and was difficult. He would always run away and want breaks, but we always worked things out. For the past 2 years, things have been good. Good enough that last year we moved in together, and got a puppy. He bought a ring that I know about. Fast forward to the past month, he's been staying out late, not communicating with me or talking to me as much. And when I ask to spend time together he says I make him feel guilty, inferior for what he wants to do. He's drinking a lot, smoking, driving. I tried to talk to his mom who I am close with, but he told I'm a nag. He said he just can't commit to me right now. There's been more arguments lately but nothing I thought was unfixable. One night I wanted to hang out but he wanted to go to Orioles game. He was mad I wanted him to hang out and not go because it's what he wanted to do. He asked if I minded so I said yes. Then I gave in and said we could hang after. Fast forward to after he asked if I cared if he went to bar and slept out. I said yeah, I am home, I thought we were hanging. Initiate argument. He went anyway. Come to find out that night he got drunk and downloaded Tinder but apologized and said he was foolish. Then he said he needed to breathe, left 6 days, returned and dumped me. I had hoped that we could work it out as we were still living together, but he's gone. I'm devastated. I feel like my life is over. I love him so much and I'm broken and angry. I don't understand how he could go from wanting to marry me, to dumping me. And acting this way. He won't even respond to my texts other than cold, sparse answers. What do I do? I don't think I'll ever recover. Please be kind. This was 6 years of my life. I'm scared he will find someone else and commit to them the way he couldn't to me. And I still feel like he's mine. The thought of someone else kissing him makes me sick. I've been sitting on the bathroom floor crying for hours. This hurts so badly I can't even be in this apartment anymore. Okay, I know you love him, but if he can't show you some respect and end things like a decent human being, then it's probably for the best you two didn't marry. After all, you dodged a bullet here. Accept it and move on. Scissor folded hands. You dodged a bullet, consider yourself lucky. Delete his number and block him on all your social media. Be done with him and focus on yourself for a while. There's a guy out there who will appreciate you when you're ready. Be strong and give yourself time to grieve. You will move on and be stronger for it. You gave him 6 years. That's enough. Feel the feels. Let the hurt come. Cry. Scream. Yell. Then wipe your face and him from your memory. He's gone. Make him regret it. Live better. Be better. Yes, block him everywhere, change your phone number, email, etc. Don't worry, your new life is just beginning. Be patient, things will get better. Just don't be getting caught up in a rebound relationship. My mum used to say, you shouldn't stop a traveler. I.e., if he wants to leave, let him go. You'll be better off without him. You were 18 when you started the relationship, i.e., not fully grown up. Take some time for yourself, to explore who you are as an adult, independent of a partner or other people. To find out what you want for yourself in life. And only after at least a year or two, that you use to disentangle yourself emotionally from that guy, you should start looking at a relationship again. I'm sorry, sweetie. You deserve to be treated better and not be ghosted like that. Hugs. The pain is real, but it will pass with time. You will find someone who loves you. If he came back now, you would always wonder when he would disappear again, but you would have kids to take care of. So sorry, but in the long run probably for the best. Coworker, F20+. Out of nowhere demanded me to come in on my F25 day off. What do I do? My coworker, who I'll call Irma, is quite bossy towards me and the others. She isn't a shift lead or anything, but does take her job seriously. We work in a machine factory and she tends to jump back and forth from each machine to help work on things and solve problems. This means I'm always left to tend to her assigned ones, which I don't always mind but can be annoying when my own machines go off and need fixing. She has good rapport with other shift leads and maintenance people because of this. She'll go off the line to talk to people for long periods of time, which is annoying. More often than not, she'll be talking to someone while her machines are going off in front of her, and when we call her out on it, she yells at us. One of my coworkers actually got into a fight with her because she was leaving us with work while she was off yapping to another shift lead. She ranted to me once about how shift leads love her, but she's always had trouble with coworkers, just because I try to keep them in line. Almost all the lines she's worked on had problems with her attitude, and I'm pretty sure she doesn't see why. One day I took the day off to help my family out. Out of nowhere I get a text from a random number asking why I wasn't coming in. I asked who this was, and sure enough, it was Irma. I never gave my number to her, and here she was demanding I cancel my PTO and come in to help. I told her no, and when I came back after 2 days she was lecturing me about how it was unfair I didn't give her a heads up. I told her I didn't need to because our shift lead and supervisor knows. She just brushed me off and told me not to do it again. I'm tempted to report her to the supervisor, but she's friends with them. My other coworkers are frustrated with her too, but we don't know what to do. Too long did not read. Overbearing coworker demanded me to come in on my day off when I never gave her a way to contact me. What do I do? Don't even listen to her. If you're not on the schedule, don't reply. Report this to human resources. Tell them you don't want to make a big deal out of it, but you figure it is liability for the company for a non-supervisor to be calling employees when they have taken an approved day off or sick leave. Show them your call log and your text exchange. When she gets pissed about it, Just look at her and say, "The last time I checked X was my supervisor. Were you promoted and I missed it? Oh, well, I have work to do, so I am going to get back to it." And stop doing her work for her or document it when you do. Edited for clarity. These types of coworkers are the worst, I swear. Like, I respect how much she cares for the job, but she ain't your boss, so who cares? Also, it's your time off. I wouldn't even come in if the boss told me to. Block her number. You aren't paid to be on call and she is not your boss. You can approach HR as a group. It's easy for them to brush off one person complaining. It's a lot harder to ignore an entire group with a legitimate complaint. How did she get your number? This is harassment. I would 100% report it to HR that firstly she got your number, which in itself is a violation of your privacy rights. Secondly, she is out of line. I met people like this, and before you know it, they are your boss because they have bossed you around long enough. Do not ever take instruction from her. Either ignore her or say, "I will check that with my boss, thanks." You need to not cover her job ever. Do your job and your job only. You are helping her get promoted and you will end up doing her job with no extra pay. Step away. Your job only. Stop covering for her. If she's off yakking with somebody, let her machines idle. She doesn't need her bossiness to be enabled. I'd be skeptical that she's as close with the shift leads, supervisors as she claims. If that was the case, I'd imagine she'd have been promoted instead of messily stomping around doing little power plays with her coworkers. If you have an HR department or an employee handbook to reference, I would report that a coworker somehow got your phone number and contacted you to harass you to come into work during your PTO. You don't have to mention her by name until they ask you, but that behavior definitely needs to get managed.